In this video, we're going to compare the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera to the Blackmagic Micro Cinema Camera. For all intents and purposes, they're pretty much the same camera, but what makes them different? This one was released a couple weeks ago. It is now April, so it was released sometime in March of 2016, and this was released a couple of years ago. Both of them are still around the same price point, both of them shoot the same resolution. Only thing is, this shoots 60 frames a second, and this shoots 30. This one has a screen, this one doesn't. So I'm going to go over the good, the bad, the ugly of the Micro Cinema Camera. I'm going to give you the bad news first, things I don't like. The thing I don't like is this. This is the charger. Where is it? Somewhere in here. At first they give you this. It's a normal connector, 12 volt. And I picked up the camera, was looking around it, and I saw that there was no port for this specific adapter. I then took this out of the box and I found that this plug fits into one of the ports in here, and this looks like a VGA cable from a computer, fits into the side of here. You have to screw in the sides, or if you don't, it just falls right out. So that's how you power it. Other than that, there's a battery. It's a Canon LP6 battery. Fits right into the back and clicks right in. And there's a little release button up here that takes it right out. The battery lasts about an hour and a half, opposed to the Pocket Cinema Camera, which gives you about a half hour to an hour depending on what you're recording. Other thing I don't like about the Micro Cinema Camera is it kind of has a cheap feel. It's all plastic as opposed to any other camera Blackmagic has made. Even the Pocket Cinema Camera, if you take off the rubber, it's aluminum underneath. This one has a fan in it, and when you open up the USB port, there's also a little hole in there next to the USB port. The first day I had it, I was packing it up and I shook it around and there was something in it. Luckily I was able to get it out, but it's just so easy for something to get in there and screw something up. Another thing that I found odd about the Micro Cinema Camera is when you open up the lens cap, it appears to be the same distance to the sensor from where you attach the lens. They're both Micro Four Thirds sensors, and they're both Micro Four Thirds adapters. Here, I have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Speed Booster, and I have a Micro Four Thirds Speed Booster. Pocket Cinema Camera Speed Booster clips right in, no problem, slides right off. Same thing with the Pocket Cinema Camera. The Micro Four Thirds adapter slides in, but it doesn't tighten. It doesn't feel safe to tighten it either. As opposed to putting the Micro Four Thirds adapter on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, it goes right on no problem. So I don't really understand the issue there. These are both Metabones adapters. They both have the glass inside. Obviously the Pocket Cinema Camera goes a little bit deeper than the regular 4/3 adapter. Another thing about the Micro Cinema Camera is if you want to shoot 60 frames a second, you have to get the SanDisk Extreme Pro memory card. I have the 128 gig model and it filled up in about 60 minutes. I tried other memory cards in this as well, shooting 60 frames a second, and they all drop frames, and they're all pretty fast cards. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the monitor and the interface. Now I knew buying this that it didn't come with a screen, and you're going to need a monitor if you want to use this camera. The thing I really like about it though, it has a full HDMI cable output port, as opposed to the Pocket Cinema Camera that has a micro HDMI port. I've had that on so many other cameras and they've all broken. So a full HDMI port is definitely a plus. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set up this monitor. It's a cheap $130 Field World monitor. I have not had a complaint about it so far. The battery lasts about a good 6 hours at least. So you go ahead and you plug the HDMI cable into the side. And for your purposes, I'm going to hold this up. We'll turn on the, it's off. We'll turn on the monitor. And we'll turn on the camera. You hit the power button. It's the one all the way at the bottom. lights up. I like that light. It tells you if it's recording, if the battery's low, if the battery's good. So the first thing you're going to notice, or maybe not even notice, is the buttons on the front. You have the power, menu, forward, back, and play button. To get into the menu, you hit menu. To scroll left and right, you hit the back and forth. To get into a sub-menu, you have to hit the play button. And to get up and down, you have to hit the back and forth. Again, to get into the sub-menu, to change like the resolution or something, you have to hit the play button, change it, press play, and then to escape, you hit menu, menu, and then it resets the screen to whatever format you have it set to. On the monitor itself, it shows what you'd see on a normal Blackmagic. It has the frames per second, it has the shutter angle, it has the aperture, it has the record time, it has the ISO, white balance, and the battery. The weird thing about the battery is in the settings, you can set it to a percentage, and I have it set to show battery percentage, but it shows the bars, and I don't understand that. Sometimes it will show the bars, and sometimes it will show the percentage. I'm sure that's just something they have to fix with the firmware update, but it really annoys me because I really don't know what my battery's at. Up here at the top, you also have the amount of record time left, which is pretty useful to know. So what I don't like about it is the buttons are in the front, and they're fairly smooth too, so it's hard to tell which button's which if you're not looking at them. They are fairly small, and my fingers aren't that thick, but sometimes I hit two buttons at once, and it's kind of annoying. The one thing I do like about it though, considering the fact that this doesn't have a screen, is if you take off the lens cap and you're in the settings menu, you can see what's going on while you're in the menu. So if you change the white balance or something like that, you can see it in real time. So if anybody wants me to go more in depth about the menu settings, please feel free to let me know. But right now I'll just go through the basics. There's camera, there's audio, there's monitoring, there's setup, and there's remote. Remote, I guess you could use for like a drone or a gimbal or other remote access features. I'm not really sure exactly what you could use it for yet, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of different cool things with it. Both cameras fit in the palm of your hand. Both cameras fall within a similar price range of $995 new, not including sales tax. This one I actually bought from an out-of-state reseller, so I saved about $80 on sales tax. That money went towards HDMI cables, batteries, and a bunch of other small things, so it definitely went a long way. This I bought off of eBay for about $700, so I definitely got a steal there. Both of them serve different purposes for different uses and different people, so everybody's going to have a different opinion about it. The Pocket Cinema Camera is more of a run and gun camera. It has a screen, you throw a lens on it, and you can just go. But the battery only lasts about 20 to 30 minutes of recording. The Micro Cinema Camera has a battery that lasts an hour to an hour and a half, shoots 60 frames a second, but it needs an external monitor, which is a little bit of a hassle when you're trying to go somewhere. So hopefully in this video I answered any questions you may have had or didn't even know that you had. If you have more questions or want to see another comparison, I'm definitely going to compare it against the GH4, the Cinema Camera, and the Pocket Cinema Camera to see how it stacks up against them. But if you have any other suggestions, please feel free to let me know, leave a comment, direct message me, whatever you need to do. Micro Cinema Camera lasts about an hour and a half on a single battery, but you don't know the half of it. Aw, you can eat it.